Earth's last warning to the galaxy. Attack again and be annihilated. The smoke still rose from the ruins of New Brasilia. 3 million people had lived there yesterday. Today their ashes drifted across a burning planet. The Zetharian Empire had come without warning, their warships appearing in orbit like dark angels of death. They fired their weapons for 6 hours straight. When they left, an entire human colony was gone. Ambassador David Chen stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council station called Concordia. He was tired, so very tired. For 30 years he had come to this place asking for justice, asking for peace, asking for protection under galactic law. For 30 years the Council had given him nothing but empty words and false promises. The hall was massive, built to hold representatives from 200 different species. Crystal pillars reached up to a ceiling that showed the stars themselves. Beautiful and cold, just like the aliens who gathered here. Chen looked at them all. The insect-like Vraxi with their clicking mandibles, the floating gas bags of the Pelleran Collective, the proud reptilian Zetharians who sat in their section as if they owned the universe. Chen's hands shook as he held the data pad. On it were the names. 3 million names. Men, women, children, all dead. He had promised their families he would get justice. He had promised them the galaxy would care. The Zetharian Empire must be held accountable, Chen said. His voice echoed in the chamber. They attacked a civilian colony. No military targets, no warning, just murder. This is the 47th time humanity has been attacked without cause. The 47th time we have come here asking for justice. The Zetharian representative stood. His name was Kravas, and he wore the crimson armor of a high general. His scales gleamed under the lights. His teeth showed in what might have been a smile. The humans provoked us, Kravas said. His voice was smooth, unconcerned. Their colony ships passed near our territory. We felt threatened. We acted in self-defense. Chen felt rage burn in his chest. New Brasilia was 40 light-years from your nearest system. 40 light-years. And it was a farming colony. Their biggest weapon was a tractor. The Council has reviewed the evidence, said Speaker Malthus, a being of pure energy contained in a force field. We find that both sides share blame for this unfortunate incident. The Zetharian Empire will pay a fine of 10,000 credits. This matter is closed. 10,000 credits. The price of a small cargo ship. That was the value the galaxy placed on 3 million human lives. Chen had expected this. It was always the same. Humanity had joined the galactic community 200 years ago, full of hope and dreams. They thought they would find friends among the stars. Instead, they found predators, species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, who saw humans as violent newcomers, primitive apes who got lucky with technology. In 47 wars, humanity had won 47 times. But the victories came at terrible costs. Millions dead, entire fleets destroyed, colonies burned. And each time the Council blamed humanity. They said humans were too aggressive, too warlike, that humanity brought these attacks on themselves. No, Chen said quietly. The chamber fell silent. Malthus pulsed with surprise. Excuse me? I said no. Chen's voice grew stronger. For 2 centuries we have played by your rules. We have held back. We have shown restraint. We have tried to be good neighbors, good citizens of this galactic community. And what has it gotten us? Death. Again and again, death. Ambassador Chen, you are out of order, Malthus warned. I am done being in order, Chen replied. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of every species that would look back. Most looked away. You think you know humanity. You think we are lucky. You think we are reckless and crude, that we win our wars through sheer numbers and willingness to die. You are wrong, Kravas laughed. It sounded like stones grinding together. Is this a threat, human? Will you attack us? Go ahead and try. The Zetharian Empire will crush you. Chen reached into his jacket and pulled out a small cube. He placed it on the speaker's podium. The cube projected an image into the air above the Council. It showed a ship. A human ship, but unlike any the Council had seen before. Sleek and dark, covered in strange angles that seemed to drink in light. This is the EDS Silent Thunder, Chen said. It is one of 4,000 ships in what we call Ghost Fleet. You have never seen these ships. Your sensors cannot detect them. They have been in this very system, watching every Council meeting for the past 50 years. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Vraxi clicked in agitation. The Pellerans pulsed with alarm. Impossible, Kravas said. We would have detected them. You detected nothing because we did not want you to, Chen said. For 150 years, humanity has been building weapons. Terrible weapons. Weapons we swore we would never use unless we had no other choice. We created something we called the doctrine of restraint. We hid our true strength because we feared what would happen if you knew. We thought if we appeared weak enough, harmless enough, you would leave us alone. We were wrong. Chen pressed a button on the cube. New images appeared. Weapons that could crack planets. Drone swarms that numbered in the billions. Technology that made the Council's finest warships look like wooden boats compared to aircraft carriers. We have been holding back, Chen said. In every war, we used only conventional weapons. We let your species think you had a chance. We hoped that eventually you would see us as equals, as friends. That hope is dead now. Dead like the 3 million people on New Brasilia. The council chamber erupted. Representatives shouted in 100 different languages. Some demanded Chen be arrested. Others called for war against humanity. Malthus tried to restore order, his energy field pulsing red with anger. Chen raised his voice above the chaos. Earth's government has authorized me to deliver one final message. This is not a negotiation. This is not a threat. This is a promise. Attack humanity again, and we will show you what we have been holding back. Attack us again, and you will learn why we are called the scariest species in the galaxy. Attack us again and your civilizations will burn. He picked up the cube and turned to leave. As he walked toward the exit, Kravis called out behind him. You are bluffing, human. Your kind does not have the strength to threaten the entire galaxy. Chen stopped. He did not turn around. I pray to every god in the universe that no one is foolish enough to test that theory. He left the chamber. Behind him, the council dissolved into chaos. Representatives screamed at each other. Ancient alliances began to crack. Fear spread like poison through the hall. On Earth, Admiral Keisha Okonkwo received a coded message. Just 2 words. Revelation Protocols. She looked out at the stars from her office in Geneva. Somewhere out there, someone would test humanity's warning. Someone always did. They would learn the truth. Humanity had spent 200 years being the victim. That era was over. She pressed a button on her desk. Across the solar system, in hidden bases on Mars, in the asteroid belt, in the cold dark beyond Pluto, thousands of ships began to wake up. Ghost Fleet was coming online. The last war was about to begin. Admiral Keisha Okonkwo walked through the corridors of Genesis Station. The station floated in the shadow of Jupiter's moon Europa, hidden from casual observation by magnetic interference and stealth technology. She had been coming here for 20 years, watching humanity's greatest secret take shape. The corridor opened into a massive observation deck. Beyond the windows stretched a sight that would make any military commander weep with joy or terror, depending on which side they were on. Ships, thousands of them. They hung in space like sleeping predators, dark and silent. These were not the white and blue vessels of Earth's public fleet. These ships were black, angular, covered in sensor-absorbing materials that made them almost invisible. Beautiful, aren't they? Said a voice behind her. Okonkwo turned to see Dr. James Kwan. The physicist looked older than his 60 years. His hair was white, his face lined with worry. He had spent half his life building weapons he hoped would never be used. Beautiful is not the word I would choose, Okonkwo said. Necessary, maybe. Terrible, certainly. Kwan nodded. He understood. They all understood. Every person who worked on Ghost Fleet carried the weight of what they had created. These ships could end civilizations. The weapons they carried could crack worlds. Humanity had built the tools of apocalypse and hidden them away, hoping they would rust unused in the dark. The doctrine of restraint, Kwan said quietly. Do you remember when President Anderson first proposed it? Okonkwo remembered. It was 150 years ago, long before she was born, but every officer in Earth's military studied that moment. Humanity had just won its 5th war against alien aggression. The cost had been enormous. 2 colonies lost, 500,000 dead. Earth's leaders realized something terrible. They were winning, but barely. If the galaxy united against them, humanity would be crushed. So they made a choice. They would develop weapons in secret. Technology so advanced, so devastating, that it would make any attack on humanity suicidal. But they would hide it all. They would let the galaxy think humans were weak. Lucky. Primitive warriors who won through courage and numbers rather than skill. For 150 years, it worked. Humanity endured attack after attack, always holding back their true strength. They used conventional weapons. They took heavy casualties. They let alien species think they had a chance, all to avoid the one thing humanity feared most: the entire galaxy uniting to destroy them. New Brasilia changed everything, Quan said. 3 million people, Okonkwo replied. 3 million civilians. The Zetharians didn't even pretend it was an accident. They bragged about it. Quan pulled up a holographic display. It showed a timeline of humanity's wars. 47 conflicts in 200 years. The attacks were getting worse, more frequent, more brutal. The galaxy had learned that the Council would never punish them, that humanity would always hold back, that there was no price to pay for killing humans. The doctrine of restraint was supposed to buy us time, Quan said. Time to become strong enough that no one would dare attack us. But instead it taught them that we are prey, that they can kill us without consequence. Okonkwo looked at the ships again. Each one represented years of work, decades of scientific advancement, technologies that other species had not dreamed of, quantum entanglement communication that could not be jammed or intercepted, AI systems so advanced they could pilot entire fleets with perfect coordination, weapons that used physics itself as a tool of destruction. Show me the relativistic kinetic system, she said. Quan changed the display. A new schematic appeared. It looked simple, too simple to be the most dangerous weapon humanity had ever built. A projectile, a guidance system, a propulsion unit. It accelerates mass to 99.9% the speed of light, Quan explained. At that velocity, even a small object carries planet-cracking energy. The projectile is invisible until impact. No shield can stop it. No sensor can detect it in time. Once fired, nothing can prevent it from hitting its target. And we have thousands of them, Okonkwo said. We do. Hidden in the asteroid belt and the Kuiper belt on distant moons. We can strike any world in the galaxy within days of the decision being made. The aliens think space combat happens at close range, ships firing at each other across thousands of kilometers. They have no idea we can kill them from across the galaxy. Okonkwo felt sick. She had spent her life defending humanity. She had commanded fleets. She had won battles. She had sent people to their deaths. But this was different. This was not war. This was annihilation, the power to destroy entire civilizations with the press of a button. Intelligence reports confirm the Zetharians are mobilizing, she said, changing the subject. Quan brought up new data. The Zetharian Empire was assembling a fleet, the largest fleet they had ever built. 5,000 warships, dreadnoughts and carriers, cruisers and destroyers, enough firepower to sterilize a planet. They think Chen was bluffing, Quan said. They think we are weak. They are going to attack Earth itself. Let them come, said a new voice. Captain Sarah Reeves entered the observation deck. She was young for a ship commander, only 35, but she had earned her position. She commanded the EDS Silent Thunder, the first ship of Ghost Fleet to be completed. She had spent 10 years training in secret, running simulations, preparing for a war she hoped would never come. You sound eager, Okonkwo said. Not eager, Reeves replied. Ready. We have trained for this. We have prepared. The Zetharians think they are hunting sheep. They are about to learn they have cornered a tiger. Okonkwo studied the younger woman. Reeves had ice in her veins. She would do what needed to be done without hesitation. That was good. But Okonkwo worried. Once you unleash this kind of violence, could you ever put it back in the bottle? There is concern, Okonkwo said carefully, among some members of the Joint Chiefs. Concern that we are becoming the thing we always feared. Monsters. Bullies. The very thing we accused the Zetharians of being. The difference, Reeves said, is that we are defending ourselves. We did not start this war. We did not attack anyone. We simply said, stop killing us or we will stop you. If that makes us monsters, then the galaxy needs more monsters. Quan looked uncomfortable. There is a moral dimension we cannot ignore. These weapons can kill billions. The responsibility is crushing. The responsibility, Okonkwo said, is to protect humanity. Every single human life is precious. We have lost millions trying to be good galactic citizens. How many more must die before we are allowed to defend ourselves? She pulled up a new display. Earth. Beautiful blue and green, spinning in the darkness. 4 billion people lived there. Billions more on colonies scattered across 100 light years. All of them depending on the decisions made in this room. The Zetharians will reach the Sol system in 72 hours, Okonkwo said. We have 3 days to prepare. Ghost Fleet will deploy. We will show them what humanity has been hiding. And we will make sure that no one ever attacks us again. Reeves saluted. The Silent Thunder is ready, Admiral. Good. Because we are not just defending Earth. We are sending a message to the entire galaxy. A message written in fire and steel. A message that says humanity is done being the victim. Quan looked at the ships. His creations, his nightmares made real. God help us all. God, Okonkwo said, has nothing to do with this. This is about survival. About making a choice between being destroyed or being feared. I choose fear. She turned to leave. Then she stopped and looked back at Quan. You asked me once why I joined the military. Why I dedicated my life to war. I will tell you. I joined because I lost my sister in the Vraxi attack on Titan Station. She was 20 years old. A medical student. She died because the galaxy thinks human life is cheap. I swore on her grave that I would make them understand. That I would make them fear the cost of killing us. She walked away, her footsteps echoing in the vast chamber. Behind her, Ghost Fleet waited. Silent. Patient. Ready. In 72 hours, the galaxy would learn the truth about humanity. The Zetharian armada gathered at the edge of the Sol system. 5,000 warships hung in the darkness like a swarm of predators. General Kravis stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Emperor's Wrath. Around him, his officers prepared for battle. They were confident. Why should they not be? The Zetharians had ruled their sector of space for 5,000 years. They had conquered 100 worlds. They had crushed every enemy they faced. Status report, Kravis commanded. All ships report ready, his second-in-command replied. Weapons charged. Shields at maximum. We are prepared to advance on Earth. Kravis looked at the tactical display. Earth was 8 light hours away. The human homeworld, once they destroyed it, the human infestation would be broken. The other colonies would fall easily without their mother world to support them. The humans are cowards, Kravis said to his officers. They make threats they cannot keep. They speak of secret weapons and hidden fleets, lies, all lies. We have scanned this system. There are perhaps 300 human ships defending Earth. We outnumber them 16-1. The officers hissed their approval. Kravis felt satisfaction warm his scales. This would be easy. Glorious. The Emperor would reward him greatly for this victory. Advance, he ordered. All ships move toward Earth, destroy anything that resists. The armada moved forward. 5,000 engines burned, pushing the massive fleet deeper into the Sol system. They passed Neptune. Then Uranus. Still no resistance. Where were the humans? Were they hiding? Running? On Earth. Admiral Okonkwo watched the Zetharian fleet advance. She stood in the war room deep beneath Geneva. Around her, hundreds of officers monitored displays. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier was linked into this room. From here, she could command humanity's entire military with a thought. They are taking the bait, said her tactical officer. Okonkwo nodded. The Zetharians were following exactly the path her analysts had predicted. Arrogant, overconfident. They thought they knew what they were facing. They were wrong. Ghost Fleet status? She asked. All 4,000 ships are in position, came the reply. Cloaked and waiting. The Zetharians have passed within weapons range of 300 vessels and detected nothing. Drone swarms? 40 billion units deployed. Powered down, invisible, ready to activate on your command. Silent Thunder? In position. Captain Reeves reports all relativistic systems armed and locked on target. Okonkwo took a deep breath. This was it. The moment humanity stopped pretending to be weak. The moment they showed the galaxy what they really were. She thought of her sister, of the 3 million dead on New Brasilia, of all the humans who had died because the galaxy thought they were prey. The Zetharians are approaching Jupiter, an officer reported. They will be in orbit of Earth in 4 hours. 4 hours. Okonkwo let them come, let them get deep into the Sol system, deep enough that they could not escape, deep enough that the entire galaxy would see what happened next. Far from Earth, hidden in the asteroid belt, Captain Sarah Reeves sat in the command chair of the Silent Thunder. Her ship was small compared to the Zetharian dreadnoughts, but what it carried made it the most dangerous vessel in the galaxy. She watched the countdown on her display. 3 hours and 58 minutes until firing window. All systems green, her weapons officer reported. Relativistic payloads ready? Targets locked. Reeves looked at the target list. 10 locations. The Zetharian homeworld. Their 3 major colony worlds. 6 military installations. Each target would be hit by projectiles moving at almost the speed of light. Each projectile carried enough kinetic energy to destroy a continent. The Zetharian Empire would not survive this day. She felt nothing. No guilt, no hesitation. They had asked for this. They had attacked first. They had killed 3 million civilians and laughed about it. Now they would pay. The Zetharians reached Saturn. Still no sign of human resistance. Kravis frowned. Where were they? The tactical display showed Earth ahead, blue and beautiful. But still no defenders. General, his sensor officer said, I am detecting anomalies. What kind of anomalies? Small distortions in space, like shadows. They are all around us. Before Kravis could respond, the shadows became real. 4,000 human warships appeared from nowhere. One moment, empty space. The next, a fleet larger than anything the Zetharians had ever seen. Black ships, angular and deadly. They surrounded the Zetharian armada completely. Impossible, Kravis whispered. Then Admiral Okonkwo's face appeared on every Zetharian screen. Every ship. Every display. Every communicator. There was no escaping her message. I am Admiral Keisha Okonkwo of Earth Defense Force, she said. Her voice was calm, cold. You were warned. You did not listen. Now you will learn why humanity does not make empty threats. She raised her hand. Ghost Fleet, engage. The darkness came alive. The human ships did not charge forward like normal warriors. They did not fire their main weapons. Instead, they released the swarms. 40 billion drones, each the size of a human fist. They erupted from the human ships like a metallic plague. The swarm was so dense it looked like a solid wall of metal. The Zetharian ships opened fire. Their weapons blazed, destroying thousands of drones. But for every drone destroyed, 100 more took its place. The swarm did not slow down. It did not stop. It flowed around the Zetharian ships like water, like a living thing. The drones attached themselves to the Zetharian hulls. And they began to cut. Millions of tiny cutting torches burned through armor, through shields, through hull plating. The drones did not stop. They cut and cut and cut until they reached vital systems, until they reached reactors, until they reached crew compartments. Shields are failing, a Zetharian officer screamed. Hull breaches on decks 7 through 15. We cannot stop them. There are too many. Kravis watched in horror as his mighty fleet was torn apart by insects. His sensors showed ship after ship going dark, reactors exploding, life support failing. Hundreds of warships, then thousands, all dying, all helpless against the swarm. Retreat, he ordered. All ships retreat. But it was too late. The swarm pursued. Ghost Fleet moved to block their escape. The Zetharian armada was trapped. In 3 hours, 5,000 warships were reduced to floating wreckage. Not one human ship had been damaged. Not one human life had been lost. Kravis sat in his command chair watching his fleet die. He understood now. The humans had been holding back. Every battle humanity had fought, they had used primitive weapons. Simple tactics. They had let the galaxy think they were weak. All while building this horror, this nightmare. His flagship shuddered as the swarm reached it. Alarms screamed. Officers abandoned their posts. Kravis activated his personal communicator. He sent one message to the Emperor. One final warning. Do not fight them. You cannot win. Then the swarm breached the bridge and General Kravis knew no more. On the silent thunder, Captain Reeves watched the timer reach 0. Fire, she said. The relativistic weapons launched. 10 projectiles accelerated to nearly the speed of light. They were invisible, unstoppable. They would cross 50 light years in just over 50 years of outside time. But to the projectiles, time moved differently. To them, the journey would take seconds. The Zetharian homeworld had no idea what was coming. How could they? The projectiles moved too fast to detect, too fast to intercept. They would arrive in the Zetharian system in the amount of time it took light to travel that distance. There was no warning, no time to evacuate, no defense. Reeves transmitted a message across galactic channels. Every species would receive it. Every world would hear humanity's words. The Zetharian Empire attacked humanity without provocation. They killed 3 million civilians. They laughed at our pain. Now they faced the consequences. 10 projectiles are currently traveling towards Etherian systems. They will arrive in the time it takes light to reach those worlds. We could have destroyed their entire civilization. We chose to target only military installations. We chose mercy. Remember this. Remember that humanity could have killed billions but chose not to. Remember that we warned you. Attack us again and we will not be so kind. Across the galaxy on thousands of worlds, trillions of beings watched the footage. They saw the Zetharian armada destroyed. They saw the swarm. They saw the power humanity had hidden, and they were afraid. The Zetharian emperor sat on his throne and watched the end of his world. The palace walls were thick stone built to last for eternity. They would not save him. Nothing would save him now. The humans had fired their weapons 50 years ago, but light itself had only just carried the warning. The projectiles were already here. His advisors had fled. His generals had committed ritual suicide. His fleet was destroyed. His empire was dying, and it was all his fault. He had ordered the attack on New Brasilia. He had laughed when the humans threatened them. He had believed the Zetharians were the apex predators of the galaxy. A human face appeared on the communication screen. Admiral Okonkwo, the destroyer of his fleet, the angel of death. Emperor Sathis, she said. Her voice was not cruel. There was no mockery, just cold facts. In 30 minutes, 10 relativistic projectiles will impact your worlds. Each carries enough kinetic energy to destroy a continent. We have targeted your military command centers, your weapons factories, and your primary shipyards. Civilian casualties will occur. That is unavoidable. But we have given you time to evacuate the impact zones. 30 minutes, the Emperor said. His voice was hollow. How generous. It is more than you gave New Brasilia, Okonkwo replied. They had no warning, no chance. 3 million dead in 6 hours. You celebrated their deaths. Now you have 30 minutes to save whoever you can. Why tell us at all? The Emperor asked. Why not simply destroy us without warning? Okonkwo was quiet for a moment. Because we are not you. Because every life matters, even the lives of our enemies. Because we want you to understand something. We could have destroyed your entire civilization. We could have targeted your cities, your farms, your schools. We could have killed every Zetharian in existence. We chose not to. Remember that. When you rebuild, when you teach your children about this day, remember that humanity chose mercy when we had the power to choose annihilation. The screen went dark. The Emperor stood from his throne. He walked to the balcony and looked out over his capital city. Millions of Zetharians filled the streets. They were running, screaming, trying to reach the evacuation shelters. So few would make it. His pride had doomed them. He activated the planetary broadcast system. His face appeared on every screen across the homeworld. My people, he said, I have failed you. I led us to war against humanity believing we would win easily. I was wrong. In moments, our military infrastructure will be destroyed. Many will die. This is my fault. But hear me now. Humanity could have killed us all. They chose not to. They gave us this warning. They showed mercy to an enemy that showed them none. Surrender. All Zetharian forces across the galaxy surrender immediately. Do not fight. Do not resist. We have lost. Accept it with honor. He closed the transmission. In the distance, the first impact came. The western continent lit up like a sun. The shockwave was visible from space, a ring of destruction expanding at supersonic speeds. The Emperor watched calmly. This was his penance. He would not hide. He would face what he had brought upon his people. 9 more impacts followed. Each one was precise. Each one hit exactly where the humans had promised. Military bases, shipyards, weapons factories. The infrastructure of war. When it was over, the Zetharian Empire's ability to wage war was gone. Erased. Centuries of military buildup destroyed in 10 seconds. But the cities remained. The farms remained. The schools and hospitals remained. Humanity had kept its promise. They had shown mercy. On Concordia Station, the Galactic Council met in emergency session. Every species was present. Every representative was terrified. They had all watched the battle. They had all seen what humanity could do. And they understood that if humanity chose, they could do the same to any world in the galaxy. Speaker Malthus pulsed with agitation. We must discuss the human threat. They have revealed weapons that violate every galactic treaty. Weapons that could destroy civilization itself. The humans never signed those treaties, said the Vraxi representative, his mandibles clicking nervously. We refused to let them join. We said they were too primitive. Perhaps, said the Pelleran representative, her gas bag body shifting colors with stress. We should have paid more attention. They played us. For 200 years they made us think they were weak, all while building an arsenal that could crack worlds. Ambassador Chen entered the chamber. The representatives fell silent. They watched him like prey watching a predator. Chen walked to the human delegation seat and sat down calmly. He said nothing. He just waited. Finally, Malthus spoke. Ambassador Chen, the Council demands an explanation. The weapons you have revealed threaten the entire galaxy. Do they? Chen asked mildly. The Zetharians attacked us 47 times. The Council did nothing. Other species attacked us with impunity. The Council did nothing. 3 million of my people died. The Council called it unfortunate and moved on. Now we defend ourselves and suddenly we are the threat? You destroyed the Zetharian fleet without losing a single ship, a Council member said. You fired weapons that can strike from across the galaxy. What are we supposed to think? Think about this, Chen said, his voice hardening. We showed you 10% of our capabilities. Maybe less. We could have wiped out the Zetharian species. We could have turned their worlds into glass. We chose not to. We targeted only military assets. We gave them warning. We showed mercy to an enemy that showed us none. That is what you should think about. But why hide this strength? Malthus asked. Why pretend to be weak? Because we feared you, Chen admitted. Not any one species, but all of you together. We calculated that if the galaxy knew how strong we really were, you would unite against us. Thousands of species putting aside your differences to destroy the scary humans. So we hid. We took casualties we did not have to take. We bled when we could have been invincible. All to avoid the one scenario we could not win, total galactic war. And now? The Pelleran asked. Now we are done hiding, Chen said. Done pretending. Done allowing our people to die while the Council does nothing. Here are Earth's new terms. We want a permanent seat on the Security Council with veto power. We want reparations from every species that attacked us. We want a mutual defense treaty that actually means something. And we want the galaxy to understand one simple truth. Humanity will no longer tolerate aggression against our people. You cannot dictate terms to the Council, Malthus said, but his energy field flickered uncertainly. I am not dictating, Chen replied. I am stating facts. You can accept these terms or you can refuse. If you refuse, we will withdraw from galactic civilization. We will seal our borders, and any ship that enters human space will be destroyed without warning. Is that what you want? Do you want humanity to become the isolated, paranoid species that sees every alien as a threat? The Council members looked at each other. Some wanted to fight, to unite the galaxy against humanity. But others were wiser. They had seen what happened to the Zetharians. They had seen 5,000 ships destroyed in hours. They had seen weapons that could crack planets. Who would volunteer to face that? What species would sacrifice their worlds to punish humanity for defending themselves? A new voice spoke. It was the representative from the Pelleran Collective, Ambassador Iris. Perhaps, she said slowly, we have been looking at this wrong. The humans did not start this war. They endured 47 attacks. They showed restraint for 2 centuries. And when they finally revealed their strength, they used it with precision and mercy. Is that not the kind of power we should want on the Security Council? Power tempered by wisdom? Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some agreed. Others argued. But slowly consensus built. Not because they liked humanity. Not because they trusted humans. But because they feared them. And fear, as humanity had learned, was a powerful motivator. We will vote, Malthus announced. All in favor of granting humanity a permanent Security Council seat with full rights and privileges. The vote was not unanimous. 20 species voted against, but 217 voted in favor. It was enough. Humanity had won. Not just the battle, not just the war. They had won their place in galactic civilization. Through strength, through fear, through the terrible realization that humanity was not prey. Chen stood. Thank you. Earth accepts these terms, but know this. We will remember who voted against us today. We will remember who celebrated our losses. We will remember who called us primitive. We do not forget, and we do not forgive easily. He left the chamber. Behind him, the galaxy began to change. 1 year had passed since the Zetharian War ended. New Brasilia was being rebuilt. Where 3 million had died, millions more now worked to create something new, something better. The ruins had been cleared, the scars remained, but life was returning to the colony world. Ambassador David Chen stood at the dedication ceremony for the memorial garden. 3 million trees had been planted, one for every person who died. Their names were carved into black stone walls that stretched for kilometers. People came here to remember, to mourn, to promise the dead that their sacrifice had not been in vain. A figure approached Chen. He tensed, then relaxed when he recognized who it was. Emperor Sathis of the Zitharian people. The former tyrant looked smaller now, older, broken by the weight of what he had done. Ambassador Chen, Sathis said quietly. Thank you for allowing me to come. You asked permission, Chen replied. That is more than you did before. Sathis flinched but did not argue. He had no right to argue. He walked to the memorial walls and placed his clawed hand against the stone. I read their names, he said. All 3 million. It took me months. I owed them that much. To know who I killed. To remember their faces. Why are you here? Chen asked. To tell you that I am sorry, Sathis said. I know those words mean nothing. I know they cannot bring back the dead, but I need to say them. I was arrogant. I believed my people were superior. I believed human life was cheap. I was wrong, and my people paid the price for my pride. Chen studied the former emperor. The Zitharian species had been shattered by the war. Their military was gone. Their industry was crippled. They had fallen from being a galactic power to barely hanging on. Billions of Zitharians faced poverty and starvation, and yet Earth had sent aid, food, medicine, engineers to help rebuild. Many humans had protested. Why help the enemy? But Chen and others argued that mercy must mean something, that if humanity became as cruel as those who attacked them, then what was the point of winning? Your people are working on the reconstruction, Chen said. I have seen the reports. Zitharian engineers working alongside human builders, former enemies building something together. They told me that the humans treat them with respect, Sathis said, that they share food, tell jokes, teach each other their languages. I do not understand. We killed your people. Why do you not hate us? Some do, Chen admitted. There are humans who will never forgive, who see every Zitharian as a murderer, but others understand that you are not your government, that the workers and farmers and children of your species did not choose this war. They were victims too, of your pride, of your government's arrogance. Sathis was quiet for a long time. What will happen to my people? He finally asked. That depends on you, Chen said. Earth has offered a treaty, trade, cultural exchange, a path forward, but it requires your people to change, to accept that you are not superior, that all species have value. Can you do that? I will spend the rest of my life trying, Sathis said. It is the least I owe to the dead. He left, walking slowly through the memorial garden. Chen watched him go. It was strange. A year ago, he would have gladly seen Sathis executed for his crimes. Now he felt only pity. The Emperor had destroyed himself more thoroughly than any weapon could have. On Earth, Admiral Keisha Okonkwo stood before the Global Defense Council. The council chamber was filled with representatives from every human nation. They had come to hear her report on galactic military status. The situation is stable, Okonkwo said. Since the Zitharian War, there have been no attacks on human space. Ghost Fleet remains on standby. Our sensors cover the entire galaxy. Any buildup of hostile forces will be detected immediately. And the other species? Asked the representative from the Asian Union. How do they view us now? With fear, Okonkwo said bluntly, and respect. The galaxy has learned that humanity is not prey. Several species have requested military alliances. Others have offered trade agreements. We are no longer outsiders. We are a superpower. At what cost? Asked the European Federation representative. We revealed weapons that could destroy civilizations. We showed the galaxy that we can kill on a scale that terrifies them. Have we become the monsters we always feared? Okonkwo thought about that question. She thought about the Zitharian fleet destroyed in hours, about the relativistic weapons that could crack worlds, about the drone swarms that could strip a planet bare, about all the terrible tools humanity had built and hidden away. We showed restraint, she said finally. We could have destroyed the Zitharians completely. We chose not to. That is the difference between us and them. We have the power to annihilate, but we choose mercy whenever possible. That is what makes us human. Not our weapons, not our strength, our choices. But for how long? The African Alliance representative asked. How long before someone tests us again? How long before we have to use those weapons? And what happens when mercy becomes too expensive? Okonkwo had no answer. That was the burden humanity now carried. They had revealed their strength. They had shown the galaxy what they could do. Now they had to live with the consequences. Every species in the galaxy knew that humanity could destroy them. That knowledge changed everything. It created peace through fear. But was that really peace, or just war waiting to happen? Far from Earth, Captain Sarah Reeves sat in the command chair of the Silent Thunder. Her ship patrolled the border of human space, watching for threats. It was quiet work, boring even, but necessary. The galaxy needed to see that humanity was vigilant, that they could not be caught off guard. Captain, her sensor officer said, I am detecting unusual readings at the edge of our scan range. Reeves sat up. What kind of readings? Unknown. The energy signature does not match any known species. It is coming from beyond the galactic rim. Reeves felt her heart rate increase. Beyond the galactic rim. That meant extragalactic. Something from outside the galaxy entirely. Analysis? It appears to be a probe of some kind. Non-hostile as far as we can tell. But it is using technology far beyond anything we have encountered. Reeves transmitted the data back to Earth. Within minutes, Admiral Okonkwo was on the secure channel. What do you make of it? Reeves asked. I make of it that the galaxy is about to get more complicated, Okonkwo replied. We just finished convincing 200 species that humanity is the scariest thing in the universe. Now something scarier has shown up. Orders? Observe. Do not engage. Collect all data you can. If this is first contact with an extragalactic civilization, we need to be careful. Very careful. Reeves understood. Humanity had just established itself as a galactic power through superior technology and ruthless efficiency. But what if this new arrival was to humanity what humanity was to the Zetharians? What if all of Ghost Fleet, all the relativistic weapons, all the drone swarms were primitive compared to what was coming? She thought about the doctrine of restraint. How humanity had hidden its strength for fear of uniting the galaxy against them. Now they were the dominant power. But dominance was relative. There was always something bigger, something stronger, something waiting in the dark. Keep scanning, she ordered her crew. I want to know everything about that probe. On Earth, in the office of the Secretary General, David Chen looked at the reports. The probe, the strange energy signatures. The implications were staggering. He had spent the last year building a new galactic order with humanity at its center. Now that order might be tested by something none of them understood. He thought about the last year, about the victories and the costs, about the 3 million dead and the billion saved, about the Zytharian Empire broken and rebuilt, about humanity's rise from victim to guardian. It had been a hard road, a bloody road, but necessary. Now a new chapter was beginning. Humanity had warned the galaxy, attack us and be annihilated. The galaxy had listened. But what happened when something arrived that did not fear annihilation? When something came that was to humanity what humanity was to the rest of the galaxy? Chen pulled up a file. It was labeled Contingency Omega. Inside were plans for weapons even more terrible than what they had revealed. Weapons that existed only as theories and blueprints. Weapons that made relativistic projectiles look like toys. Humanity had shown the galaxy 10% of their capabilities, maybe less. There were still secrets, still hidden strengths, because that was humanity's true lesson. Not that they were strong, but that they were always preparing, always planning, always looking ahead to the next threat. The doctrine of restraint had not ended. It had evolved. They had revealed some cards but kept others hidden, just in case. Chen closed the file. He looked out his window at Lake Geneva. Beautiful and peaceful. So many people had died to protect places like this, to ensure that humanity had a future. He would not waste their sacrifice. Let them come, he said quietly to the empty office. Whatever is out there, let them come. They will learn what the Zetharians learned. That humanity does not make empty threats, that we do not give warnings we cannot keep, that we are the species that turns prey into predators. He activated his communicator. Admiral Okonkwo, begin preparations for first contact protocols. And quietly activate contingency Omega research. I want options. Understood, sir. Thank you for watching and comment for next part.